Okay, hi. We start this lesson. This section focuses on RAG. RAG what? It's what we call a knowledge base. Then we can imagine. We went straight to the big model. What is it actually called? From the brain. Get an answer from our memory. It's like we're taking a closed book exam. But what? There is a lot of knowledge that may not be remembered. You can flip through a book. It's like an open book exam. What about this book? It's our RAG knowledge base. This is why we introduced RAG, because I have a hard time remembering very much. In other words, and some of this news is updated every day. My big model. It's impossible to do this continuous training every day. So the RAG knowledge base was introduced. RAG knowledge base. It's actually retrieval argument generation. It basically solves two problems. What about the first one? It's knowledge. That is to say, the knowledge inside the big model is too limited. Now it's typical. We were just talking about very new news. He obviously doesn't. There is also some special professional knowledge. And some papers. There are a few more. We're like these documents inside a company. He probably doesn't have it. So say, we need to have there is such a knowledge base. So this is the outer brain. Second point. We call this the hallucination problem. We have knowledge in our knowledge base. It can be compared. Then follow this to answer the question. Roughly, why do we use a knowledge base? For two reasons. In other words, we need to understand how it works. Students who have worked in search engines may know. It's basically a search engine. Then, what about when I use it? Just to get such a search result and put it in my queue. So what? Roughly speaking. The first is loading. Okay, just load the document. In addition, because the document may be longer, like a book, I'm gonna cut it, split it up. And then the third point, it will be indexed. Of course, we are doing this vector index. Of course, it can also be done like a traditional search engine. It's called an inverted index. Both are okay. What about phase 2? Is to answer the question, how to use it. In fact, it works just like a search engine. I actually searched first. Get some of these result documents. And then what? Document these results. And my question. Send it to the big model together. Just say it's my problem. Here's my reference. Ask the big model to answer according to this reference. This is the whole process. And this is what he used to do. And some of his advantages. Of course, the main thing is to say maybe some personal assistants. Some enterprise think tanks. So anyway, it's just an outer brain. It's one of us. It's just a book for an open book exam. So that's a basic interpretation of RAG. Then, let's take a look at IONET's RAG in detail. What about IONET's RAG? What about it first? In fact, there is a web version. You can take a look. This one, right? This is actually one of ours. Documents I indexed in advance. Then, they can then answer questions based on this document. This is our fragment. He actually took this PDF and made it into fragments. equivalent to citation source. That's it. Take a look at this clip. Which snippet am I quoting? This is from our web. But because we are doing the development of this big model, so we tend to use APIs. Then RAG's API. The most commonly used words actually include langkind, and there are lots of these. But if you want to do a complete, this commercial-grade service, generally speaking, there's some very complete frameworks like this. So say, INET. In fact, it uses a framework like R2R. You can take a look. It is one that is currently used a lot. A RAG framework. It is equivalent to having a service. Include this knowledge base, including knowledge graph. It's a pretty good system. This is the documentation of INET's RAG. In fact, this document is basically exactly the same as this one. I have a URL for my own deployment here. Then, let's take a look at how to call it below. We will use this SDK to install it. Okay. I'm done here. No longer executed. Our key. Same key to intelligence as before. Just saying we use this word. It also sets a base URL. Okay, just set it to this. Then, we actually need to test it first. It's such a healthy. Can it be connected? Must receive OK. Give it a run for everyone. Right? Okay. If this doesn't work out, maybe there is a problem with your network or this configuration. The following is a brief explanation of how to use it. This actually means the first one. I just said we should add a document first. What about after adding the document? It automatically splits. You don't have to worry about that. Separately packaged. Then you can take a look at the documentation inside. Because I added a lot. So it's all over here. Also pay attention. The document you added here, and documents added on the web. It's all one. You can think of it as a library, a collection. So say, added here. You can also see it with the API, because it's one. Then, first search. Generally speaking, it is to search first. Then unify this search result to the large model. This is usually just an intermediate process. We can take a look at its process. Here are our search results. It's very, very consequential. This is actually what we ended up using. Let's take a look. This is a search. This is RAG. Just give the answer directly. Yes, it's like putting this. It's an intermediate process, mainly for everyone to do development. You might write the queue yourself. As for this, just send this search result directly, and then returned with the big model answer. It tells you, my question is whether DeepSeek is open source. It says it's open source. This is one specific answer, and some quote snippets. How about this one? That is to say, we are generally the same as OpenAI, and sometimes we need that flow. We just need to be in this config. Write a stream. Just be true. How about this one? In fact, how many answers do we return? It's the same as our search. You can take a look at this. Okay, word for word output. So that's it. Mainly introduce the basic uses of RAG. And it's a basic process. Follow-up words. Let's go through some more. It's a more detailed use. That's it for the class.